Hi, everybody. It is Numerologist Glynis McCants. Welcome to our live event. Looking forward to talking to you today and covering some hot topics. So I'm going to wait for some more people to come in and say hello. I do see Felice. Hi, Felice. And I see Dr. Bo. Hi, Dr. Bo. Yeah. So we're going to be talk about some hot topics, but also talk about doing live sessions, like live reads, quick questions. Remember, the only way I can do that, the tool is your full date of birth and your name. And the quick question, if you have it. Otherwise, you might just be asking about your birthday. That's fine too. All right. So my hint to you today. Hi, Keith. Love you, Keith. He's such a sweetheart. And Vivian and Miss Brooklyn. And I'm going to go with D Hala 7321 because Uranus always sounds like a punchline. So I'm not going to say. Oh, I guess I did. And Nancy Drew. All right, guys, I'm glad you're here. And Ted, let your friend know that we're here too right now because I'm going to be doing some live reads in real time. I had given you a hint. I said, there is a woman. Okay, it's a mother. She got divorced from her partner. They're famous. And she has done everything she can to poison the well with her children, with the father. And unfortunately for this moment, it has worked. But I'm telling you, it's not going to last. And what you need to know about me is that I deal with people like their whole history is what I do. Okay, I look, I've done this 30 years. That means I really get to witness the positives and the negatives of all these people. And the reason they call me Celebrity Numerologist is because I deal with celebrity energy. So the couple I'm referring to is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. So the basic numbers, and I'll put this in the comments. By the way, by all means, comment, not just that you're a live stream, but after this video, put your little comment because I always go back and look at them, okay, and respond to them. That's important. But just keeping the numbers simple. Hers are 966, born on a 4-day, 5-life path. Brad Pitt is 18994 with a star/3 attitude. Now, technically on paper, they have two challenge numbers. And one could say when you have two challenge numbers out of 6, you can agree to disagree. The problem is the challenge numbers they have. They're coming from the birth date, which is sacred. It's the most important numbers. Your name numbers, you can change them, but your birth date numbers, they're everything. And in her case, she's a 5 and he's a 4. Very different energy. And what I remember when they were together for all those years, Brad was with those babies constantly. Angelina was traveling. She traveled a tremendous amount, definitely into the humanitarian work. That's absolutely true. But she was gone a lot. And there he was with those little people all over the world and also home. So what I knew, because the 4 is the one who wants that partnership, it's like, I want to get married, well, she was born on a 4-day. So clearly Brad must have thought she wants to make that commitment. But they had all the babies before there was any commitment, meaning getting married. Because she even said, look, he really wants kids. That's why she also had some biological besides adopting. But when they broke up, like when things fell apart, it was ugly. And she talked about what she said he did on a plane, that he was abusive to one of the kids. But when it was investigated, they came back and said that was not the case. And I wasn't surprised to hear that, because here's what you may not know. Angelina's father happens to be John Voight, but they are toxic in numerology. And she has had a very bad relationship. She resents her father because her mother, who she adored, she just loved her mom with all her heart, and her mom died of cancer. She blamed him for her mother's unhappiness because that mom would cry all the time when he left her. He left her when Angelina was very little. And so she resented him. And that right there brings you to the issue of, with men. And her soul number is the number 9, which is issues with abandonment. Well, no matter what, that's what it felt like. And I did read a book that kind of talked about her history as a child. The mother was so depressed and unhappy with that breakup, she wouldn't even pick her up. She wouldn't pick Angelina up to hold her because she looked so much like the father and it was too painful. Well, just consider that a second. A child, a little person who you're not going to pick up because it's too painful. It's stuff like that that can hurt us, right? So, yes, I knew she had the emotional scars. What surprised me is how completely she wanted to destroy Brad Pitt. And you know what was interesting about that? During the beginning of the breakup, remember, he won an Oscar. What was that called? I'm not remembering right now. You can put it in the notes. What was it called? Hollywood. Is sometime in Hollywood. I'm not sure of the title. You guys should know it. Brad Pitt won an Oscar. Tell me what the title is, and I'll continue on that part. But anyway, so here she is really delaying that divorce. Like they've just been in the courts fighting. You know that. If you might know about the winery where she actually sold part of it to Russians, so that they could use it as well. And Brad said it was illegal. They've just been in fight after fight. It's been so ugly, but it's exactly, in my opinion, what a toxic relationship looks like, right? That complete breakdown in communication. But meanwhile, she got to raise those kids. And I'm the first to say, don't put down the father. And if it's the opposite, don't put down the mother, because it really does damage to the child. The child feels a connection to that, And now what the kids have been doing is removing his last name. They're literally like Shiloh. Shiloh's now Shiloh Jolie. I mean, they're literally taking his name away. And I got to tell you, I find that heartbreaking. And if you're thinking, oh, Glynis must be a big fan of Brad, I'm not. Brad Pitt, years ago, the whole thing that happened with Jennifer Aniston, my heart was broken for her because she had a bunch of twos in a chart. And I remember that whole story. Maybe sometime we'll just cover it all. But I'm just saying, my message, I guess, to all of us, don't do that. If you're a parent, don't poison the well about the other parent, because the child eventually will resent you. These kids right now, they're just right there with her. But eventually, there's going to be repercussions. And the heartbreak is she knows that from her own childhood, right? The mom talked about how the father broke her heart. And Angelina never got over it. So it's almost as if she couldn't have that healthy relationship. I also remember, he wanted a commitment. When they got married, if you go back to People magazine and just see her in her wedding dress, she looks really unhappy. And in my mind, I thought, the beginning of the end. And sure enough, within a couple of years, it was over after all those years together. So make a note of it. And then this year, let's talk about that emotionally. What is happening for them? He's in a year 4, which is he's holding his position. Legally, there's things he wants and he's fighting for it. She in a personal year 2, which is emotional. Well, the 2 is also a challenge to the 5, which is her life path. So maybe she's making choices that ultimately she's going to regret. But the fact that it's on the world stage, right? I mean, that's where I'm empathetic for everybody. When you're on the world stage to have to hash this stuff out. Wow. All right. That's one part I wanted to say. The other thing I want to thank you. Okay. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was the name of the movie. And it's a great movie, by the way. If you didn't see it, you should watch it because he did do a great job. But what he basically said when he got that Oscar, he said, wait a second. So I just have to take off my shirt to win an Oscar, which was a very funny thing to say. But I believe Hollywood was just rallying behind him because they knew he was a good dad to those kids and everything had just blown up in his face. I really believe that played a role in his winning. This weekend, this whole thing that's happening, there's a spiritual thing taking place. So I want you to consider this weekend as a spiritual time. When you look at tomorrow, the 13th, the following day, the 14th, really work on that part of you. If you're someone who does affirmation, if you do meditation, if you want to write out what you're trying to achieve, there's a spiritual energy. Now, for me personally, because I am a Catholic, I'm obsessed with St. Anthony. We have a church here. It's like 100 years that church has had St. Anthony. And when I ever do like the prayer, a miracle prayer, which I want to share with you, I did have, I'm not going to name the institution. I'm just going to tell you the story. One of the companies I work with was like withholding my money, which was a shock. And they kept asking me for information, all kinds of information, to prove who I am. What made that ironic is I've been with them for 14 years. And I'm sure with the hacking and all the stuff happening, perhaps that's why they did it. But that didn't make me feel any better. It was very upsetting. But while I was on hold at one point, because I had given them so much information, and it's hard to give all your private information, right, online, because you know that it's possible you'll get hacked again. And so what I did is I started doing this prayer, like a miracle prayer, and it was about finances and not being sabotaged. And so what was powerful about that, within, gosh, I don't know, within an hour after the next person I talked to that was also saying no, and they needed more proof of who I am, all of a sudden they greenlit it. They're like, oh, you're good to go. And I was able to transfer, because what it was doing is stopping me from transferring from their institution into my bank account. But it was a powerful prayer, and I'm going to put it in the comments below today. So remember I said that. What mark are we at? I'm not sure. Oh, we're 11 minutes in. I'll make sure I mark that for you so you can use it. Let's see. I have someone in the office right now who's moving around and shouldn't be. And so I don't know if you heard that noise or not, but that's what it was. What we're going to do is I'm going to start looking at your questions, right? You'll be able to submit them and put them up there. And like I said, you guys all have friends. Let your friends know that I'm sitting here right now to help you. That would be great. All right. Let me scroll down and see what I see. And again, full date of birth. I'm going to ask you never to fast food numerology for me. Okay. So example, if you say, hey, I'm an 8 life path, what do you see? Don't do that, please. I need a full date of birth so I can see what's going on with you. There are 3 numbers that are sacred. And then I want to look at the personal year cycle you're in order to answer your question. Okay. So that's really important. All right. All right. I can take this one. The gal's name is Grace. And then born on a 2 day with a 2 attitude, 235. And that puts you in a personal year 3. Well, let's click on her. There you are. You said career. Well, this depends on what you want. I have to tell you, since you're ultimately a 5, you don't want to be controlled. You can't be in an environment that's remotely stagnant. It's not uncommon for a 5 where they end up traveling a lot for their work. All right, what comes to my mind is the pilot of a plane, a captain of a ship. But for women, maybe they're planning parties, right? Because you're always driving around setting up those events. But you got to stay busy. So it'd be important, Grace, you can give me 3 options you're considering, and I can tell you the best one by the numbers. Now, because you also have double 2, that means you're really sensitive. So if you use that intuition as a part of your work, that's a very good idea. And this year, you're in a personal year of 3. So that's about tapping into that inner child, finding ways to laugh, express yourself, communicate. Yeah, you got to say what's going on with you. Don't you dare internalize. The problem with double 2, if they internalize, they're the ones who end up getting sick. So we're going to keep you well, and celebration of life are my key words for you. So you tell me what it is you're considering. All right. Okay, I'm going to grab this one. Date of birth, 2/8/1965, and it's a health question. Okay, so born on an 8 day, 1, and then what? 1, 2, 4. Ultimately 4. Wow. Okay. But do you say Rhea? I'm going to just call you Rhea. Rhea, when you're born on an 8 day and you're a 4 life path, it tells me that I just was talking about, I said, don't internalize. Really easy for you to do that. Like when something's bugging you, look, you're outspoken. There's no getting around it. As a matter of fact, you're blunt, like a blunt instrument. You do that. But I'm suggesting that you've got to calm down. You got to get in your center. Don't let everything affect you, right? Out there in the world. And what I see in you, since you learned the hard way, meaning you just have to hit your head before you learn. You don't want people telling you what to do. It's really important that you find peace inside you. Like you have to replenish yourself. So how do I do that? Music. Just go, I go to YouTube because it's got all the music, right? Pick songs that put you in a good mood. You do that, Rhea, it's going to help you, especially with your health. Everything's frequency. So we have high frequency vibration, we have low frequency. This is about lifting you up, right? Helping you with your frequency. So in terms of health, you're in a personal year of 2, you should be looking at it. Let me confirm that. Yeah. Personal year 2 is a time to go, how do I feel? Like, take a look at your body. Is anything going on that's strange? How about the lower back? How about the shoulders? All of it. So yeah, it's about the physical checkup. But I also want to say this, don't let any doctor out there put a label on what's going on with you. Don't do that. I am shocked by some of the things I've heard doctors say to people I adore. It's just so negative. So make sure that whoever you spend your time with when it comes to your health, that they are uplifting and hopeful. That's key. And if you don't have it already, you should get my affirmations to heal your body. They're available at my website, numberstudy.com, and they're very effective. I've had people that were extremely sick and they overcame it. They went into remission. So I know they work, and that's what I would want, because you didn't say what the health issue is. Thanks for the question, though. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to pop him up anyway because we love him. This is Keith, who's an upbeat fella. And I happen to know Keith's story. It's not like his life has been perfect. It's not like that. But he has very optimistic numbers. And I know he's got a 3 in his chart. And I know that he's psychically in tune, but that tells me that he has found a way not to take it all in, because that's the key. The minute you start taking the toxic energy around you personally, it can destroy you. I don't care how successful you are. You're not going to feel successful. You're going to feel unhappy. And speaking of unhappy, if there's someone in your life who's just kind of down, always down, don't spend the time you normally would. Like, pull back, because that is contagious. Just like an upbeat, fun person, their energy is also contagious. So do that. And if a lot of people are down around you, you make sure you're the light. You be the light. But yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. It's not healthy. I've watched people change. One gal picked a guy and he was just so, not only was he negative, but he started becoming a drinker. Next thing you know, he's an alcoholic. It's like, I just feel sad. I'm like, what are you doing? I get that you love him, but he changed. And if you abuse alcohol or drugs, all bets are off. It's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So just keep that in mind. That's not on you. Now, if you're the one abusing alcohol or drugs, get the help you need. I mean it, because it doesn't work. Whatever you think you're trying to drown, I'm just going to drink. It doesn't work. Whatever drug you're taking, I just don't have to deal. Yeah, you do. Eventually you come off of it. Okay. So that will really help. Marianne says hi, and I say hi back. Let's see. Ooh, let's take a look at this. I got an answer for this one. Okay, ready? You say, and this is Hansa. Hi, Glynis, July 9th, 1967. Let me write that down. 7/9/1967. 7843. Okay. You said, I can't seem to have enough energy. My hair is thinning badly. Life path 3. Thank you. All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to give you a couple things because I have lived it. Walnuts. I do an ounce of walnuts. Now, for everyone listening, and I've researched this years ago, and it's been good for me, but it's good for your hair. It's good for your nails. My nails are fiercely sharp, but also biotin. There's a thing called hair volume at CVS Pharmacy. At least that's where I got mine. And you just take it daily and your hair does get thicker. But it was my hairdresser that pointed it out. She was doing my color. She's like, wow, Glynis, your hair's gotten a lot thicker. So that's my answer regarding that part of you, okay? And then energy. I had to do an overhaul on that when it comes to energy. I definitely recommend vitamin B12. Do it daily. Take a drop of that. Vitamin D, if you can get out there and just be in the sun 15 minutes, that's a natural way to get it. But otherwise, just take some vitamin D. And what else? Iron has been great. Obviously, if you get in your food, spinach, we're big about that here because it does make a difference. So yeah, lots of answers for you. You don't have to feel that way. All right? You do not. You can feel much better, but it's just time. It must be you're going through a lot in your life. Could be hormonal, and this is about fixing it, but naturally. I'm obsessed with it being natural. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to make this clear to you guys when people ask questions this way to me. This gal, 421, 1947, born on 3 days, 7 attitude, and a 1 life path. And so she says, am I going to move? Doesn't work that way with me. I am the numbers lady, so I look at vibration. So the question is this a good time for me to move? And my answer is no, it is not. If you're thinking of moving, Cheryl, I'd start looking around, just check where would you want to be? Because remember, location matters also. Where you live is extremely important. So you'd want to look at location, make sure it's compatible to you by the numbers. You can run it. My books, Glynis has your number, love by the numbers. It helps you break down those numbers to make sure they're compatible to you. You're in a personal year of 8. I'd be more focused on the financial side of what's going on with me, like maybe getting ready financially. And then next year, when you go in a cycle of 9, yeah, that's ideal. Clearing space for new beginnings. See how perfect that is? So plan your strategy now and just look around. Where do you want to move? That's going to help you do it right. You don't want to make a mistake, but I wouldn't say this year for you. All right. So I got this again. Date of birth. So we got born on a 3-day, 8 attitude, 8 life path. And then what is 2026 going to bring me? Well, it's going to bring you that it's halfway over. Keep that in mind, right? Because it is. All right. When you're in a cycle of 9, Lorraine, and an 8 life path, look around. Like, what's going on with your home? What's going on with your garage? Is it pretty? Because, honey, if an 8 is not seeing things that are pretty, they get depressed. It's got to be pretty. So that's my big suggestion right now. The more you clear space, the better the opportunity. Great things can happen for you. And I had just done a prosperity workshop. I always say when you're an 8, it's smart to work on that part of your life. I don't know if you have a CD player anymore. If you did, I would recommend the Financial Prosperity CD. But if you don't, you can shoot an email to Vanessa, Glynis@numberslady.com. That is my email. Let's see if there's, give me just a moment. I was looking for my banners. And I was going to say Glynis, Glynis, @numberslady.com, and say I need to order a prosperity affirmation, because that's what I would be doing. I would be doing that with that 8 no matter what. And I don't know how often you do it. And then what else? When I said cycle 9, just stay focused. What's nice about that, Lorraine, each month is intense. Like last month should have been something else. I'd be amazed if you don't have a story about what happened last month for you. I'd love to hear it, actually. But this month you're in a cycle of 6. 6 is strong. It's magnetic. You have some power. So take advantage of that, right? Use it. Use that power. That's my suggestion. What else? I'm going to go like this. And so when you do that, it makes the difference. And then I want to remind you, Lorraine, no matter how intense it can get out there, since you're born on a 3-day, that is your sense of humor. Make sure you go out of your way to be like, if you can't be funny, hang out with someone you know is funny, okay? Because that's what it's about. It makes all the difference, and you're going to be glad that you did. And let's see what happened here. I'm clicking this for you guys. So interesting. I'm not trying to hide it. All right, maybe I'll start a new one for you. Yeah, I'm going to show that. So there, I just put numberslady.com because that's where you go. By the way, that's where all my stuff is. If you don't have the newsletter, you're crazy. The Glynis Has Your Number newsletter tells you what kind of month it's going to be. And I also give advice in there, and I talk about energy. It's just one of those, it's like to help you hit the ground running each month, and it's free. So yeah, go to numberslady.com. You can sign up for it there. Let's see, guys. I'm going to go back to comments and continue answering some of your questions. Yeah, Okay, this is adorable. I'm going to go ahead and do this one because I know about this. She says dermatologists will say there's no studies that prove biotin does anything. Plus, if you have blood work done, biotin can give a false result. Well, I'm telling you, I live it. And when I took the biotin, it helped my hair get thicker. So I just believe in it because I lived it, but not just me. My stepdaughters both do it to thicken their hair, many people in my life. So that's good news. And as for blood work, of course, I think when you're going to get blood work done, you should definitely get off of everything, right? You shouldn't be on anything so that the blood work is accurate. My mother's a good example of that. She was on an antibiotic when we had her do blood work, and sure enough, we had to redo some of the tests. So I wanted to bring that up. Thanks, Natalie. Okay. Uh-huh. Mhm. Let's do this. Yeah. Yeah. Let's come up here. I plan everything aroused my life path calendar. I'm gonna guess you meant around, and I appreciate that because the numerology calendar, it works with you, your birth date, and it just tells you what's compatible, what isn't, what vibrations, like what days are in sync with you, and what ones aren't. And obviously, if you know, it makes your life easier. And I certainly look, I use it. That's why I created it for you. But every single day, I'm like, wait, what day is that? I mean, there's parties I won't go to if it's completely toxic. And I'm going to tell you something funny. The 4th of July, that number four, no matter what, it's a challenge to me. And the times that I've had my butt kicked at a party, meaning confrontation, a problem, it's 4th of July. So I try to keep it a little calmer and I just make a note it's not ideal for me, right? It's just not ideal for me because it's a challenge to my energy. So yeah, you always want to look at it, and the calendars just are available 2026 on the website. All right. And hi from London. A gal named Alina said hi from London. Hi. I'm glad that you guys are here. I welcome you always. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to grab this one. Just someone who was listening to what I said. Keith, he said, wow, so sad for the kids. Well, no kidding. I mean, it really is sad for those kids, but it's not like she's the only one who's done that. And remember, as a counselor of people, I have understanding where her brokenness has come from. I'm just sorry to see it happening on the world stage the way it is. And I know there's going to be more to the story, but to pretend, Brad doesn't care and he's just out there dating this girl that he's got in his life, that's simply not true. Not true at all. All right. That's no, it doesn't work that way. And again, looking for questions that I can answer and that people will benefit from. All right. Hold on. I'm going to click this. Okay. Let's try this. Tiffany. I love the name Tiffany, by the way. I do. Tiffany Granite is one of my best friends. She had a radio show on Playboy Radio. Wonderful, wonderful interviewer and great person. It's helped me so much. My date of birth is, so let's write this down, 8/19/1978, 1/9. So we got the 717. And the question is what? And I may have met someone, don't have his date of birth, but I think it's my time now. Okay. Well, I'll put it to you this way. Tiffany, you've entered a personal year of 1, which is lovely because it's the beginning of a 9-year cycle. It's also naturally matched to your life path and the day you're born. So I like it, right? I don't know this person's numbers, just like you said, you don't have them, but it's an exciting time for you to get involved with someone. Like if this, let's say you're soulmated or you're really compatible, this would be such a great beginning to be in a cycle of 1 because the magic is 1, 2, 3. So that's this year, next year, and the following. This is your time, right? But what am I going to caution? Just making sure this person doesn't have addictions of any kind, Tiffany. Yeah, because when I look at your numbers, it's not uncommon. If we meet like a 157, the shadow side is, hey, let's party, let's have fun. As long as that part's out of control, then you're really meeting that person. And then I would also suggest in this relationship that you get outside of your regular environment and have, travel, look at the world, go places you've never been. All of that has potential to make this something great. And also, they got to be smart. Tiffany, if they're not interesting, you're going to lose interest pretty fast. It doesn't even matter if that person, you had chemistry in bed, it wouldn't matter. If you can't communicate, time passes. You're like, I can't do this. So I'm excited for you, and I hope it is the one. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to grab this because it's feedback in real time. Thank you. Great intel. Thanks so much. Funny, I met him on work and travel. Hi, guys. Yes, he's a deep thinker too, and I completely agree. But how cool is that? Yes. So now she's just got to get those numbers. And of course, I'm going to recommend run a chart. Go to numberslady.com, run the chart, see what it looks like on paper. All right. Because you just need that information. And what else would I say about that? Type in newsletter. Hopefully you're a newsletter subscriber, but if you type it in, you get a discount, and it's already not expensive. I did that deliberately so you guys could take advantage of it. You have people running charts constantly. All right. Who else? Let's see this one. Ready? So it's Marianne from Michigan. She says the date of birth, 4/8/1953. What personal year am I in? General reading, prosperity. Okay. And I really do love her for asking about prosperity because she's born on an 8 day. Hey guys, if you have a 2, 4, or 8 in your chart, you're going to care about financial security. And again, Marianne, I taught a beautiful workshop on affirming prosperity because if you do it daily, it's going to make a difference. It just does. The simple one that I'll give you right now, I believe in infinite abundance, and my needs are always met. I believe in infinite abundance, and my needs are always met. I believe in infinite abundance, and my needs are always met. You want to do that and do it 15 minutes out loud. But because you have an 8, that's going to matter for the rest of your life. So just do it. Get in the habit of it. And then you've got double 3. What personal year am I in? Well, you take your attitude number, which is month and day. 4 plus 8 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. Then you add the world number, which is a 1. 2026 breaks down to 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So you are in a personal year of 4. What does that mean? It's time for you to learn. Mary, you got to tell us, Marianne, is there anything like a course you can take, a workshop, anything? Because if you're using your mind this year, you have breakthroughs. This is one of those aha moments. So if there's something you just don't know and you've been really frustrated with yourself, educate. These next 6 months, take advantage of it because you'll retain it. Sometimes we learn something, but it doesn't stay with us. When you're in a cycle of 4, it does. So that's the answer. Another thing, word of caution. The 4 is direct. They just speak their mind, and there's repercussions when we speak our mind. So just consider when someone's talking to you and you don't appreciate what they're saying, you don't have to jump in. You can say, hey, I'll talk to you about that later. Or, gee, I didn't think of it that way. That'll keep you safe. All right. Let me know. I'm really curious about what you're doing to learn this year. Marianne, let us know in real time because we're learning from each other. All right. Whoa. I did go like this. Okay. If you are enjoying this, of course, I invite you to subscribe to my channel because that's where I'm going to be. And we want to build this channel so I can kind of live here. So yeah, let you and your friends know and your family that I do these live sessions. And look how quickly I'm whipping through those numbers. And these are just from me to you. And then hot topics. I think those are extremely important. Working on that spiritual side of you. I'm going to put that beautiful, when I say the miracle prayer worked, I am not understating. They literally said no. They're like, no, you still need to send more information. And yet, even after saying that, within an hour, they green lit me and said, "Oh, yeah, you're good to go." There you go, miracle prayer. Because, we're up against each other in this world, right? And there's a lot of deception out there. So people want to put you in a box and misunderstand you. And it happened to me, which is still crazy, but I'm just so grateful. So yeah, and this weekend, remember, work on the spiritual side of you. Work on that part. You'll get some good results from it. All right, what can I do? I'm gonna look real quick here. Yeah. And I'm just gonna pull this up because I appreciate it. Vivian, thank you for saying that because one, I say this till I'm blue in the face. My gift is God given and I love helping people. But if I didn't have that direct channel, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So I appreciate you acknowledging it. Thank you. All right. Ooh, this one's a little dramatic. Let's take a look. Date of birth 10/26. Look, hey guys, are you noticing the pattern? A lot of people are born on an 8-day today. 1965. So born on 8-day, 9 attitude, 3 life path. Will I be able to get a divorce and keep my house? This is when stuff like that happens. Steph, just remember when I talked about the miracle prayer? When I post that in comments, I want you to start doing it. You start asking for that. You affirm that. That one, I'm going to assume this relationship is horrible or you would not want out. So you just say, I can't do this. I welcome healthy love, but I'm unhappy and I really need the house. I need a place to be. Please bless me with that. But that's something I would be focusing on. The affirmation I did for prosperity, same idea, because you're coming from fear and scarcity. It's like, what if I don't have it? And then that double 3 in you, I know that you can be so optimistic, like that little kid. You love life. But born on an 8-day also tells me sometimes you say stuff that gets misinterpreted and it's a problem. And then you're bummed. You're like, wow, that's not even what I meant. And it's also be careful not to fall to the shadow side where you feel like a victim. You're not a victim. This is your life. We're all here. It's a spiritual stomping ground. We have to find our way, but it's possible. I'm wrapping this for now, but I'm going to do this again in a couple of weeks. So that's why I said subscribe to the channel so you know, and the notification bell when I let you know what day it's going to be, which, by the way, I think it's going to be the 30th at the end of the month, but I'm still double checking on that. All right. Sending love to all of you. Have a wonderful weekend. This is Numerologist Glynis McCants, and I'll see you again soon. And again, it's numberslady.com.